What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Hopefully everybody is doing well. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Welcome. Welcome to the F.I.R.M podcast, Fellowship in a Righteous Manner. Every single Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are live. We are in color. We're here. We're legit. We're real. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it do what it do, because that's what we do. That is what we do out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Out here in these streets. But hopefully everybody's having a great weekend so far. How are y'all doing in y'all's neck of the woods? How is y'all doing in y'all's neck of the woods? Dale, what's going on, my good sir? Hope all is well with you and the family. Miss Amanda, hope all is well with you and yours. Man, everything over here is great. Down here in South Florida, spending time with the family, taking care of some business, all at the same time. You know, you can do that when you learn how to balance yourself. You can do what you got to do for business and do what you got to do for pleasure, all at the same time. So that's what's going on over here. Miss Amanda is saying, just recovering from jet lag. Recovering from jet lag. What's going on, Glenn? Thank you so much for joining in, for hopping on into the show. Absolutely. And yes, Dale. Hey, got it. The Dr. Pepper. And the Dr. Pepper. But hopefully everybody is doing well. Flavius will be on momentarily. Give like another 5 or 10 more minutes. He will be on and he will be joining us for the F.I.R.M podcast. And y'all, we have a doozy today. We have an important show, an important topic when they're dealing with the potholes in your life. And dealing with the potholes in your life. But hey, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share this video with your peoples. Let them know that we are live and that we are in color. We appreciate you guys so much. Every weekend, y'all come in and y'all show up and y'all just show out. So, man, we're super grateful for that, man. But my weekend's been good so far. Spend time with the family. This weekend was my mom's birthday, so came down to celebrate. My sister's in town, so my brother's here, so it's like a big old family get together. That's what it was, and it wasn't like done on purpose, but God has a way of really just putting things together. So we went to the beach. As you can tell, I'm a little golden. I'm a little golden today. I am a little golden, man, but I am doing, when you in that water, when you enjoying life, man, it's just again, man, it's just a beautiful thing. But what have y'all been doing this weekend? What has y'all's plans been this beautiful weekend? Hopefully it's not too crazy where you at. Hopefully y'all got some good weather. Y'all got to hang out with the family or hang out with the kids, um, or just hang out with the grandkids. Whatever it is that y'all do on a weekend basis. The golden boy. Yes, absolutely. Can't you just see the aura? Can you just see the shine? Can you see the shine? Yes, yes, absolutely. But y'all, hey, I'm not going to hold y'all up much longer. We have an important conversation today in dealing with the potholes of life. A conversation that needs to be had on what potholes look like, what they are, what it does to you when you don't see one. Like, have y'all ever driven and y'all just you're looking at something, distracted by something else, and y'all there's a pothole that come and you don't even realize it, and you just hear the doo, like your car just does one of those things, and you're just like, all you can say is, "I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry, baby." Have you ever done that with your own life? Have you ever had a situation that something unexpected just shifted your whole life around? We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be diving into some of those things today, um, and all of that important conversation. So I hope you guys are strapped in. Hope you guys are ready. Engage with us as we engage with y'all, because today's conversation, y'all, is going to be a much needed conversation. So with that being said, y'all, I want to officially welcome you guys to the F.I.R.M podcast. Be released from that anger, resentment, and bitterness. That's evident.
Our context on it, and it kind of changed the definition.
Convinced himself that he's sufficient for himself.
I love discipleship. Why I love mentoring.
The us and the us and them is ever growing.
Facebook posts, Instagram posts, just another way of connecting with people.
Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another great conversation on F.I.R.M podcast.
What up, world? This is the F.I.R.M.
Y'all know what time it is. Potholes in life. Potholes in life. What's going on, everybody? Once again, welcome to the F.I.R.M podcast, where every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are here having great conversation, having much needed conversation, having even controversial conversation. Because that's what we do, because we have a model here where we say that nothing, and we mean nothing, is off the table. Nothing is off the table. As y'all can see, Flavors is about to get on as promised. I wouldn't let y'all down. I wouldn't lie to y'all like that. I would not lie to y'all like that. But before Flavors get on, Glenn says, when you're on Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania is the pothole state. The state animal is the traffic horse. Wow. Apparently you haven't been in North Carolina much. You know, it's and it's and it's a sad thing, man, because I mean, where are all our tax dollars going to? Right? The tax dollars are, they promise it's supposed to go to the roadways and the bridges and the transportation system and that whole nine. But every single time there's a pothole on the road, they send somebody out to cover that pothole with whatever it is. I don't even know what it is that they even put on the things, because literally the moment it rains, it's like the rain just melts it and it's back to being a pothole again. It's like a temporary fix to a real solution that is not being taken care of the way it's supposed to. Can y'all relate? Can y'all relate? Can y'all see where I'm going with this? Can y'all see where I'm going with this? The tax on gas is supposed to be for the roads, right? And not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not, because you do see construction. You do see, new roadways that are being built. You're seeing new highways, new loops, and that whole nine. It's like they're all being built for a specific reason, specific purpose, and they're trying to make new toll roads. They're trying to find any which way to recoup some of that money. The good hard-earned money that we make, the government always trying to find a way to recoup that money. Y'all already know what the deal is. But especially when I was living in North Carolina, like you see how they put this fake tar, this fake whatever, that would cover the pothole. But literally, when it started raining again, in 2 or 3 days, it's back to being a pothole again. And then they send them out. Then they send them back out. And when it rains again, they send them right back out. Why do it right when I can do it again? Right. You gotta love Glenn's sarcasm, but he is right on point. They say that it's a stubborn donkey that has to work twice. Don't be that stubborn mule. Don't be that stubborn mule. Like, the whole idea of fixing something is to take your time with it so you don't have to do it again. But when we're dealing with potholes, man, in life, what does that look like to you? What do potholes in your life look like? Are they relationships? Are those potholes relationships? Are those potholes your mental state? Are those potholes your emotional state? What does a pothole in your life look like? Or is it a mixture of it all? Do you feel like, what I go through mentally affects what I go through physically? Is that how we feel? Is that how we feel? Dodie says, absolutely, that's how she feels. All of the above. And so the question is, when we can identify what those potholes are we going to put a temporary fix on a situation that needs a permanent resolution? Or do we feel like, man, like, I think what I'm doing is the permanent fix, but it's really not. had a conversation earlier today with my dad and my brother. We was having a conversation about relationships, and specifically in dealing with people who are single, people who are divorced, or whatever the case is, that are just people just trying to jump into a relationship, and how important it is to heal. How important it is to heal before you jump into a relationship. And one of the things that I brought out, and then it was a great conversation, a lot of good points that were being made, that were being said. But one of the things that I brought out was that sometimes when we've gone through the church meetings and the church heal groups and bought the different books, and we've take your pick, and we feel like we healed. We feel like we're good. We feel like we got the scriptures down packed. We feel like we're trying to practice these things. But then when you jump into a real world situation, when you jump into a real relationship, when you jump into whatever it is that you are doing at that time, that is that time period that shows and reveals if I am truly healed or not. If I am truly healed or not. So it's like, it's really not, how can I put, it's when you're dealing with a pothole and you see the pothole for what it is, are you willing to address that pothole, or does it get turned over, put to the side, and like, you know what? I see that pothole too, but it's not my responsibility. I'm good. I've been to classes. I'm the one that's been single for 5 years. I'm the one that's gone through the deliverance classes. I'm the one that's done X, Y, and Z. So I know I'm good. Not realizing that you seen the potholes, but never truly dealt with them. You never properly dealt with those potholes. Sometimes, now this may sound funny, but this is the honest to God truth. Sometimes when we don't see the pothole, we can easily forget that they're there. Can I get a witness with that? Sometimes, like literally, like I went through a situation years ago where I had to deal with some serious forgiveness with somebody who seriously done me wrong, like real life stuff done me wrong, and I moved away. Eventually, I ended up moving away. I was 2,000 miles in one direction. He was 2,000 miles in the opposite direction. So it felt like I was good. I felt like because of the distance and all that stuff that I was able to forgive. I was able to just press forward. I was able to move ahead. And, and I was even like, yeah, I've forgiven him. It's, as I tell you, the whole, when you've forgiven somebody, when you can think about a situation and it doesn't affect you like it used to. Like I was having one of those, one of those moments for sure. I was one of those like, yeah, I'm good to go. Yeah, I forgive him. Yeah, I'm straight. Until one day, I was, again, 2,000 miles away. Two. my dad's mom was in the hospital. This is like 2016, 2017. She was in a hospital. She was sick. They didn't know if she was gonna make it at that time. So I went to the hospital to go see her, show love. And then literally as I am walking out of the hospital, so you know how the double door is, like I'm walking towards the door. It opens up. As I am getting ready to walk out, this said person walks in. And it completely shocked us both. Somebody who was the oppressor was now face to face with the victim, and it was a shock to us both. You know, we cordially said hello. I went about my way. He went about to go see, um, to go see his mom, and those emotions and those feelings and those anger and everything else, just, man, y'all have no idea. I mean, it rushed back like a flood. And it was like I was dealing with the unforgiveness all over again. Because what ended up happening was, because it was out of sight, because it was out of mind, because it was distance, because whatever the situation was, I had put a temporary fix in a real situation. Not realizing that this pothole, because it was out of sight and out of mind, like when for those who have houses, whatever the case is, and you see that the kitchen sink has a leak, and you're thinking, man, like maybe if I just don't see it, it'll fix itself. How silly is that? But that's how that's how we go through life situations. That's how we go through our potholes. That's how we go through our potholes. If we don't see it, maybe it will work itself out. Maybe it will fix itself out. And before we introduce the co-host to the show, what's going on, Flav?
Doing well, man. Excited, man. Yeah, y'all saw I could have jumped in at an earlier time, but my brother was over there getting it out. Sometimes, it's not easy to talk about scenarios in a general way when they're so near and dear and close to your true testimony. And I just didn't want to interrupt that. I've had a day of hearing my brothers talk, and helps you with what to intercede about. So I didn't want to interrupt you, but hey, everybody, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling? On the podcast. Hope y'all been enjoying it, and hope y'all, what I'm saying, I'm grateful for everybody that's tuned in tonight, whether on YouTube or Facebook. We see you on both platforms, and even those on Instagram. There's some people on Instagram who don't even watch us on Facebook. Vice versa on the YouTube. Now, I don't know what your reasons are why you ain't on this platform versus the other. I'm sure it's political. But anyways, whichever one you choose, we're on them all. But I'm doing well, man. Excited. Just kind of don't want to deviate too far from what we're talking about, because this conversation was inspired by a post that you made that was intentionally funny, and it was, but it talked. But it was another word. It just happened to be German word, Denmark, the European word, which is close to my native, my birthplace, which is Germany. And you said that in Denmark, instead of calling it a speed bump,
Norway,
which is a bump in the road, in Norway, I knew it was close to the home,
yeah.
but in Norway, that instead of a speed bump, they call it a farts bump. That's hilarious. So because of that, we can't be blocked or bleeped or silenced on YouTube or Facebook because in Denmark they call it a farts bump. But I was like, I don't know how that would look in the subject title. I don't know how that would look in the algorithm and all that. So I was like, potholes are something that metaphorically a lot of people can relate more to. Because the cause and effect is very similar to a lot of the situations that we go through in life. So it's a spin on your post, which is why I'm sure you said a lot. I watched the comment section be popping, and I was like, I'll jump in when it's time. You did the intro and everything?
Yes, sir. Speaking of the comment section,
no intermission. All right.
Glenn said that my potholes keep knocking me out of alignment. You know, and that's very true, and that's very powerful because
Glenn.
you know when your handkerchief is like blending in perfectly with the background. I love it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be invisible. You ain't supposed to notice that.
I know. I'm sorry. I got distracted. But yeah, no.
Trying to distract them, not you.
But now, here's the one thing that is very important to catch when it comes to being put out of alignment. Like when you're driving your vehicle and you hit a pothole.
Yeah.
The number one reason why your vehicle can come out of alignment is because of speed. How fast you're trying to get.
Not always terrain. It's how fast you're going on the terrain.
Fast you are going on the terrain. The speed of what you're going, the speed of trying to go from point A to point B. When God is telling us to slow down, He's telling us to slow down. We're still, we're trying to, to somehow, some way think that if I speed up in life, I can catch up to my destiny. Like, no, that's not possible. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. He also says that his wife says that Paul has been there for 6 months and you still hit it every time. Man, how many times have we trying to get over something, trying to get past something, and that same hole was sitting there, hasn't moved.
It's been there.
Hasn't moved, y'all. And we still hitting that thing. Glenn said that PTSD is not unforgiveness. That's a whole other show for a whole other time. Because
you see me with the invisible cloth again. I hear you, brother.
Face done disappeared. Yeah.
We still on story time with one host. That is going to open up story time with the other. So, anyways.
Yes. Charlotte says blessings. Charlotte, we love you and we are praying for you and praying for your mom. It's man, we love you, Charlotte. Just know that you got too many people fighting for you and fighting with you.
Praying with you. Trust the will of God.
And then Glenn also says I had to get your preaching hat. Hey, it's in our nature. The Saturday Night F.I.R.M podcast, we try to tone it down a little bit. But
we?
Sometimes
we try, but do we?
sometimes. But no, I mean, but the idea of of seeing these potholes and putting a temporary fix on a situation that needs time, that you have to learn how to be okay with slowing down a little bit. You have to be okay with understanding that this pothole needs a permanent fix, not a
Man,
not a temporary one, y'all.
man, he's stepping on a nerve now. Man, Indianapolis, if anybody is watching it now or later, you know, any Indianapolis. It's like they always have construction projects going on when it comes to the traffic. And I'm sure any place could relate. But this year, 2022, I don't know what the contracts are looking like. I don't know what these construction workers are going through in their life. But for whatever reason, they decided they're going to do it all this year. And everywhere you go, I don't care what exit you get off of, it could be the most ghettoish street out there. It could be somewhere in between. They got orange cones everywhere. They doing work, and I don't even know. We don't even know here in Indianapolis. We don't even know how they're doing construction everywhere. It's irritating, but we know it needs to be done. We know it needs to be done because there are potholes everywhere. I don't know what company laid what asphalt or concrete when, but I'll say that it was definitely before 2022. I don't know how many years we've complained here in this city. And if there's any politicians watching, I hope you're paying attention to the infrastructure of your city. City council members, pay attention. All right. I appreciate the fact that y'all have listened to our complaints. I know it's taken forever. It has. If you didn't know, I'm making you aware now. It's taken forever. But the benefit outweighs the, what's the word I'm looking for? The benefit of fixing these things outweighs
The
the
temporary
tolerance,
inconvenience. The temporary inconvenience.
the temporary inconvenience, the long-term inconvenience, because I ain't even gonna get into how many times they've been throwing that little black shiny stuff in a hole. And I don't know who told them that this shiny black rocks call it asphalt. It is perfect. That stuff is, whoever lays it is so convinced, because I ain't never rode over a bridge that I sank in. So whoever is convincing the construction companies that this asphalt worked, for years they've been filling in the same holes that they filled in before with the same temporary material. And it's like you said, it's a quick fix. But when you putting it in year after year after year, and if you don't, we're going to see not only what the pothole was, but what the pothole has become. Because you keep filling it in with, I don't know what the value of it is. I don't know who is in charge making the decisions, but it was a terrible
It's
mineral.
a cheap fix. It's a cheap fix.
It's a cheap, quick fix. And there's a salesperson at the beginning of every quick fix. There's someone that is convincing you this works better than everything else. That there's somebody that is trying to rub you right, flatter you just right, get you beyond what you woke up thinking on, get you beyond whether something is cheap or good, but somehow they have an ability to build the value in something that is not even valuable. They somehow they can convince you in the moment that the value of what they have to offer is so great that your concern won't be a concern in the years to come. And every year, those that have been gullible to that salesperson have had to go back to that salesperson. And that person has said, "Oh, did you get the such and such seal? Oh, did you go with this company or this company? Oh, the reason why is because you should have shut down the roads for an additional 30 days for it settling set." They have all kind of reasons, but somehow through relationship, through social, some type of connection, emotional, it could be social, it could be, whatever. But they've made this connection to not only convince you in something that does not work or something that is temporary that you see as temporary, and they convince you that it's not. They have gotten so embedded with you that they convince you that even the solution to the problem they presented is them. Oh, I can fix that. Oh, what? It didn't work out? I got that. Oh, well, it was just me at the time. I was so whatever, but I got you. And false promise after false promise after false promise has been the narrative that I can equate to the metaphoric representation of a pothole. I'm so sick at age 40 of people promising me what works that doesn't. And before I find out that it doesn't work, I'm so persuaded by this individual that they are the solution to the problem that they presented as a solution. So I go back to them, ignoring that they gave me the problem to begin with, falsely calling it a solution, and say, "Hey, I need another solution for the solution." And they know what they gave wasn't a solution to begin with.
Mm.
And so they're not giving you another solution like you thought they gave you the first time. You're about to get another one. What they're giving you is the contingency plan that they always had all along. You, just like everybody else, have discovered the truth of this thing, this event, this whatever it is in your life that you're going through or experiencing. You have finally come to the end of it, and you've discovered that it don't work. But you can't let go of that relationship that told you you was real, that validated you, that stroked your ego, that made you feel great, that told you you was a genius for making the decision to go with them in the first place and follow their advice, that there's no disciples or disciplined ones like you. Oh man, I've seen plenty of preachers, plenty of prophets, plenty of apostles, plenty of CEOs and all this other stuff, but you are different. And because they got in through flattery, you're ignoring the thing that you're complaining about.
Bruh.
My bad, bro.
Hiya. Calm it down.
Let me hold on. Let me go get a charger. So
Uh-oh. Yeah. He's while we waiting on Flavius to get what he got to get. Let's go back to the comment section, shall we? Dodie said that I think I fell in a pothole and got stuck. Yo, man, how many of us have been there? How many of us has been there where we get ourselves stuck? We get ourselves in a situation and we just don't know how to get out. In the job that I deal with, it's basically the people that are under me. They have this idea that they can drive through anything. It's a crazy idea, but they feel like they can just drive through anything, including, you know, areas where it's been completely flooded.
Yeah.
Or ground that is just so muddy and so the ground is just so loose. And so they find themselves, and then all of a sudden you get that call. Hey, Ulysses, man, I'm stuck. Like, what do you mean you stuck? Yeah, well, and you're looking at like, why did you drive through that? Why did you decide that it was okay to take that chance? And so when we can flip that, because what's true in the natural, true in the spiritual, why do we feel like we can take that chance and be okay? Why do we feel like I'm the one behind the wheel? I got this. Not realizing that that pothole is underneath that water. Not realizing it, because there are some potholes you just can't see.
That's a fact.
There's going to be times where you're going to be blindsided, y'all. There's going to be times where it's going to come out of left field. Like, what did I just hit? What just happened?
Yeah.
But what are we going to do to get ourselves unstuck from these situations? What are we going to do? How can we get ourselves unstuck? I'm glad you asked. And I'm glad you wanted to know.
I do.
And before we answer, let's go through the comment section, because I want to get back to that. But y'all just been flooding the timeline right now, and so I want to give y'all the courtesy and the respect. So Amanda, thank you so much for the scriptures right there. Appreciate that. 2 Corinthians chapter 5:17. Y'all look that up. She's talking about being made new. The mind is the battlefield which the devil tries to defeat us. Absolutely. Glenn says that the one thing that they like is the pothole slows down traffic. Very true.
And slowing down traffic. Not only do they allow the potholes, or there's room for potholes to slow down traffic, it's a guarantee that whoever is allowing the potholes has a longer assignment. Go ahead.
Glenn says that unfixed potholes keep you in need of the repairman. That's we getting back to that one too. We getting back. That was good, Glenn.
Getting deep.
Glenn says you can't dig your way out of a pothole. Can you or can't you? We're about to dive into that. Be patient, people.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Amanda's dropping some more scriptural nuggets. Luke chapter 6, verse 27 and 28. Read that at your own leisure.
Yes, sir. Love your enemies. Go ahead.
And Glenn says even the Jeep needs help sometimes.
Not a Jeep.
Not a Jeep.
They supposed to be pulling people out.
But the question of the hour.
Yes, sir.
How can you get yourself unstuck in a stucky situation.
Ah.
How do you get yourself like that? What happens? Like, what can you do? Because it can be very frustrating, right? It could be
Right.
very frustrating because it's like, man, like I told myself I was not going to get back into this thing, and look at where I'm at. Or I told myself that I wasn't going to trust nobody, and now look at where I'm at. I
Man,
told
I
myself
got something to
plan
say,
B.
but it's a little too radical for the podcast.
Hey, like I
You
said,
you know me.
like I
Okay.
said in the beginning of the conversation, the firm has a motto, which means that there is nothing off.
All right. If it
Go
was
ahead.
anybody but you. All right, I'm about to be radical for a minute. It's my I gotta put a hat on because what I'm saying ain't gonna look natural. Ain't gonna sound natural, but put this hat on disguise. You know when they put the trench coat, it's sneaky in on you. Look at this. Give me 5 to 10, if that. Look, the definition of potholes: a deep natural underground cavity. Excuse me. A deep natural underground cavity formed by the erosion of rock, especially by the action of water. Connected. If you can't follow me, get it later. Jesus is the rock of our salvation. It is deep, natural, underground. So it is something beneath. It is something that is in a cavity. It is something that there's room for this thing. Okay. Now you may take it personal. You may take it like, man, this is too near dear to the heart. It was a loved one, a spouse, a boss, a friend, relative, whatever. It's an underground cavity. That means a cavity is something that is hollow. There is room in the plan of God for this. Okay. Now it's formed by the erosion of rock. What rock do you know, according to faith, that can erode? And if you know the Bible, if you know the word, you know none other than anything outside of the rock of our salvation or anything that is being presented as the rock of your salvation that is not authentic, that has been taught to you by whatever God has allowed, because consider the paver of the road. Consider the architect of the way. Made room for certain things along the way to erode the rock. What rock? It doesn't say by the erosion of the rock of your salvation. It just says by the erosion of the rock. So what in your life is being exposed by the potholes that we've talked about, that you've thought about, that you've imagined, that you've equated some experience to your hypothetical, your metaphorical, your whatever potholes in your life? What are those things? That by definition, they are allowed to erode anything that is rock, but not the rock of your salvation. Goes on to say, especially by the action of water. What does the Bible teach us about water? When it comes to the Spirit of God, especially by the action of water. So, yeah, if you don't lay this foundation correctly, the rain will come, the wind will blow, but what is meant to remain will remain. But what many of us have done, as I have, we've thought about the things that don't remain as people, jobs, relationships. folks. Something that you can see, something tangible that you can see or touch. But the truth is, they are all the things that were never intended to remain. They are, by definition, if you run into a road, because I've rode on many on my way to work, I take a lift right now because my car is down, and they never take the worst roads. They always find the best possible course. GPS even guides them, navigates them the best possible course for me, the passenger, let alone them as the driver, because they have to navigate. However, the roads that are hit with the greatest potholes are roads that have been neglected due to an individual, but they're not neglected based off of natural causes. Everybody knows the rain is going to hit the road. Everybody knows that the snow is going to cover the road. Everybody knows that the hail is going to hit the road. However, areas in my city, in the hood, in the lower income neighborhoods, those are the places where I see the biggest potholes. What is that representation of? Places where there is the least amount of investment after the fact. But you, me, we are supposed to be pothole proof. Why? Because there should be no other rock other than the rock of our salvation. That one don't erode. How do I know? Because the Bible said that he's going to give you a promise that the cankerworm can't get to, and that can't, you don't put it up in a barn in a store place, but your treasures are supposed to be stored up somewhere where there is no erosion. It doesn't matter what the conditions are. Rain comes, the wind blows, but it remains. And this, how do you know God's fingerprint is involved? Because sometimes we be so quick to be like, the devil is throwing potholes in my life, and I got to dodge them to maintain what I got. I don't want to have to do no repairs on me. I don't want to have to fix me. I don't want there to be something, some environment, some condition that exposes some weakness in me, something I have to fix. Me be in the car if you didn't pick that up. But God allows them because there is maintenance that some of us are not doing according to the book that comes with every car that's in the glove box. The manufacturer's book, the make and model book that says tune up at this point, oil change at this point, do this at this point. If this gets broken, this is where you go for that. This is what the problem is. This is how you operate it. You know, the operator's manual. Most of us don't look at that, but that's what the Bible is. Sometimes it is especially by the action of water, it is the spirit that is creating the potholes in areas that Satan is neglecting. He think he got you. He ain't even thinking that you would turn down this road. This is for other people who barely leave their house. The real poor, disenfranchised. And then here you come. And Satan's like, this wasn't for you. You ain't supposed to be in the hood. What are you doing over here? You know that feeling you get when you're in a place where you shouldn't be, but you still feel comfortable because Jesus even was in those places. You find yourself in that place. Jesus and Jesus is satisfied because he knows what the outcome is getting ready to be. But Satan is shocked. What are you doing here? I need you on that smooth road so that you'll never know that what you're traveling by has a problem to begin with. I need you to stay on that peaceful path where you got to get way out in the middle of nowhere to figure out you had a slow leak. You hit one of these potholes in this lower income area, you're gonna find out your tires was bad. And I know you. You fix tires like that. I know you. You got the resources to get your alignment back together. These people don't. You ain't supposed to be here. But it is the water, the spirit, that has drawn you to these potholes so that you can identify the things that you need to improve quicker than Satan even had hoped. If God is the author and finisher of your faith, if he leads you and guides you down the path, if he's the lamp unto your feet and the light unto your salvation, if the righteous are led by the Lord, if the sons of God, if the just are led of the Lord, if the sons of God blow like the wind, why in the world would God allow you to go this way? Why can you relate? This whole conversation before I jumped in on this point was you could relate to every pothole, every metaphor. You was probably thinking of something. Y'all probably put them in the comment section. Well, this was a pothole for me. What if it is the spirit that led you there so that he can accelerate your process, so that he can accelerate what you need to work on about yourself, so that you can accelerate how much further you can go and where you were headed, because you have to deal with these potholes. Now, when you get back on the road to get back where you was headed, you'll get there faster and you'll get there without any of the problems that would have shown up had you not hit a pothole. I just
So,
want to say, go ahead.
so let me ask you a question then, because it strikes a very good point to you and to the audience. Going back to the question of, can you get yourself unstuck? Or so, but let me now rephrase the question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you, how can you get yourself unstuck in a situation that God put you in? Because based off of what you're saying, that these potholes are there by design.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of like I preached this one time years ago where it was like, what you're dealing with, like like everybody has this prayer
Mm-hmm.
of wanting to be more like God. I want to be like you, Jesus. You sing the songs, you know what I'm saying? Like you do all of
Let's
that.
be more of you.
I want to be more like you and I want to X, Y, and Z. And then when things start going crazy in your life, we automatically point to the devil or to whatever situation over here or et cetera over there, because we're like, this can't be a God. But
Right.
yet, to be more like Christ is to pick up your cross, is to deal with the trials and tribulations, is to all this stuff, because it develops the character of who God really is in your life.
Hmm.
So, yes, we feel like we're stuck. Yes, we feel like we've been here before.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if that be true, or if that be the case,
Mm-hmm.
then does our mind need a shift in how it is that we are looking at the potholes in our life?
Man, you know me, lens crafters and RS. I believe that a broke watch can be fixed if you recalibrate it. I believe that a soldier can be trained to step in time. I believe that everybody isn't meant to be. And I'll just say this too. I don't know many. I've lived a long time. I've been driving since I was 16. I'm 40 now. And whether it was my car, my parents' car, somebody else's car, a rental car, I don't. I There are more potholes that I've had to react to, dodge, or hit, and was like, "Ooh," it's like them gut checks. Oh,
Right.
we good. I got some good tires. He told me it was good tires. I was wondering, but the tires great. But every now and then you hit that one that has that jagged corner, and you go down, and when you're coming back up, poof. That's the one that will tear you down, tear you up, and slow you down. But I can only speak to the people who think that their life is in God's hands. Those people who have the audacity to look completely insane to everybody on this earth, I'm sure, and even to other believers at times, but who have the audacity to have the hope that the life that they're living that is common to others somehow is different because God said so. And for those people, it is detrimental to look at life and experience all things through this sight of Jesus Christ. If you have not been told, instructed, pushed in this direction, felt the Spirit pulling you, I'm certain of, even if your training is to the contrary or doesn't include this, at some point, your life in Christ could be great. Your journey in the Lord could be amazing. It could be beautiful. However, with that being said, I won't say BUT, but with that being said, if you were to take a glance at life through the Lord's eyes, it's not the same. It's just not. And the more I saw, the more I desired to see. In every waking moment in my life, transposed beyond this tangible reality, I am forcing myself by faith to witness everything. I keep the knowledge of God in front of me. It's never a subconscious thing. My human life, my regular earthly life has become subconscious to me. And my natural waking days are through the lenses of the Spirit, because I read in the scriptures where it said, "Let he that hath an ear to hear, let him hear what thus saith the Spirit," scriptures, the word. And it was like, how could you say something like that? Why would you say something like that in a room full of people who have at least two ears? Everybody. I mean, I'm sure there's some people whose ears don't work. There's probably some who maybe only have one as opposed to two, but it's too many. You're outnumbered, Lord, to say to people that can hear you. He that hath an ear. We heard that. What you mean? What kind of ear do we need? What kind of eyes do we need to see that a man like Elijah, who we don't even know, have not met, most people couldn't possibly understand?
Yes, sir.
How could a man like Elijah pray for his servant who he wanted to keep, who he cared about? Pray to God to open his eyes when this man has followed him everywhere he's been. What is he talking about? And then for God to open his eyes, show it in the word. This is my testimony. It's going to be recorded. That's his testimony. That he opened this man's eyes and this man saw something that could not be seen. That's without intercession, fasting, prayer, church attendance all year, stepping up to your ministry and your call, whatever. Elijah was able to request of God. Elijah was living a life. Now, they both could have prayed and interceded and loved the Lord, but somehow this man was living this reality the whole time. He could see it. And he was aware that he needed to request that this other guy could see it too. And if this guy had been outside the will of God, a sinner, and all this other stuff, God would have never opened his eyes. But this was a believer too, who responded correctly when he saw what was there. If anybody thinks that there is nobody on this earth that's not living that life of Elijah, where they are aware, you do not know God. For all that he is to know. I never tell anybody who had a testimony about God they don't know him, but maybe you have no ability to scale the scope of him for whatever reason. Maybe you didn't reveal it, but there are people that live a reality in this world that others have to intercede to see. And I'm telling you what I'm seeing. The potholes are by design, because you won't get an oil change when you need one, because you won't allow anyone to refresh you, because you won't let anybody lay their hands on you anymore, because you are no longer susceptible to criticism, because you think you're just as good as you were when you came from the factory. But you don't know that the depreciation is in your time here, and it's an earthly thing, but not a spiritual thing. You don't know that your timing belt is a little bit off. The time frames that you declare God is doing something, you're so fastened to it that you don't even recognize anymore that it's off timing. You gotten comfortable in this car and you haven't hit a pothole in so long that you've learned how to recline your seat back a little bit, and still you keep your seatbelt on, but you're not realizing that your visibility of your natural peripheral vision is blocked or impaired by the bridge between the front window and the back. That you have the ability to see it all, but you can't because your posture is rested in the wrong time,
Yes, sir.
wrong environments. And if you would have just been sitting up in your seat, in the driver's seat, you would have saw the pothole. But God knows. So he set your navigation the way for you. And he included some potholes in the way. Not so that you would go to the left or to the right, but that you would remember to the left and the right isn't an option. Because in your heart, you're telling God, if he don't do this, if this doesn't work, I'm going left. God, if you don't give me this, if you don't help me for this great and noble reason, I'm going right. I swear, I'm going right. But the straight and the narrow is where the course that he's plotted. And these potholes, if Elijah could tell you, if Isaiah could tell you, if you could hear me, you would hear me telling you that it's by design. You would hear me telling you that these are for your better good. It's not the car, it's not the vehicle, it's not your mode of operation that is the problem. It's what you've become along the way, the things that you neglected, not the stuff that other people pointed out about you. But like Paul, the kicking against the pricks. How could you? You know you feel something, but you're going against that anyways. Based off of what? Because you think it's right, because you got the permission, because you validated, because you don't need the validation. Whatever the reason is, you're going this way, and you feel something, but you believe that you gotta go against the narrative that God intended for you. And I'm telling you that even that is a feeling that isn't true. You're not going against the narrative. You just feel like it because it is the narrative that you don't believe God would take you through.
Sheesh.
You
Bruh.
don't think God would allow it. You think it's the devil.
Listen, y'all. And
I'm done, bro.
no,
Please stay.
no, yeah, because
Sheesh.
you gotta preach tomorrow. You gotta preach tomorrow, and you
That's
need
what it is. I'm feeling the extra stirring. It's I get on you about going too deep. You even said it. We ain't supposed to be preaching on here. But we
yeah,
get into
right.
it. That's what
But
it is.
no,
Stirring up.
but in a quick nutshell, because we're over our time for the night. That is why it's so important to take Jesus at his word, take the scripture at his word when he says to put on the mind of Christ, to think on the things that are above and not things here on earth, because and the analogy, the illustration that I can give is, imagine you're looking at what you're facing, looking at the pothole in your life, what you're going through, what you're dealing with. If you go up a staircase, what was looking at you dead in the eye, you are now looking down on it. And what it does is that it gives you a better field of vision of what it is that you're going through and how God wants you to deal with it. We're not here to prophesy or whatever that God is going to rescue you out of your situation and God's going to pull you out. But what we are testifying and what we are saying that God is saying, that if you are able to change your perception, if you are able to take yourself to a higher altitude, you will find that what you are dealing with does have a solution. You will find that what you are facing has a bigger purpose that is beyond what you can think at this moment. You may be feeling some type of way. You may be using justifications or reasonings or excuses. But the fact of the matter is, you have the mind of Christ. The truth of the matter is that when you start thinking on the things that are above and not things here on earth, what you are looking at comes with not just a different view, y'all, but instructions, divine instructions from God on how to prepare yourself, how to behave, what it is you have to do. Things in life that we go through, we see it, and we're like, God, this is not fair. God, man, I wish, Lord God, if you just gave me X, Y, Lord, if you just, why did I have to go through that? Do you trust God enough, as Flavius is saying, that God allowed these potholes, God allowed you to get stuck, God allowed you to hit it to get your alignment off of whatever the situation is, because what He is taking you through is all about building His character in you. Even if you can't get out the house, what can God do through to you? What can God do for you from a higher perspective? What can God do through you when you're sitting behind your work desk and you're dealing with people and you lose patience with people? Can you think higher? What does God want me to do? When you're behind that wheel, delivering, doing work, or whatever the case is, can you take yourself out of that and bring yourself higher? If you do that, if you are willing to humble yourself, if you're willing to lay aside your pride, your ego, your hurt, your offense, you're wondering, you're questioning your whys, I'll be interested to hear what your testimony is. What you're willing to do with what God just used Flavors to talk about. That was some powerful stuff. I hope you guys were listening. And I hope you guys were taking notes. But listen, y'all, with that being said, I didn't mean to cut you off, man, but
No.
It's just was one of those
You
situations, man.
started it.
I cannot.
You
I
did. You
cannot.
gave the analogy. You was like going through a pothole and you're speeding. Sometimes that might be the Lord saying, slow down. And my spirit was like, the potholes are for your good. It was I lost it after that. It's like it's a change in your perspective. It's
Amen.
somebody speaking something that, like Elijah did with his servant. Elijah said, open his eyes. It doesn't matter if he said those specific words. You said something, and my perception broadened. It wasn't like it changed and there's no potholes. No, these are really chuck holes, speed bumps, farts bumps, like you said. But I didn't know how to say that right. Farts bumps.
The
I was
farts
like, do
bump.
you say it with the thoughts bumps?
The farts.
I don't know how you say it. I know how Germans talk because I was from there, but it was I was born in Germany. But it was You started it, bro. When you said that, it like unlocked something for me. And I was just like quiet for a minute, but I'm like, you know me, idiot savant. I could be all in life and then it'll be a moment of I'll say something and jump back to you. Be like, did he say that? That had to be the Lord, because you know him. He normally don't. Yeah, he bumbling through life. But take the um take the messengers as a grain of salt, for we are the salt of the earth. But it
Amen.
was that, and it was also how you talked about your perspective changing, which we talk about a lot. We practice it. We learned it from the Spirit, and we always do that. But it's like the idea that you can see something differently. And for many people who have not been able to tap into that different view, to be able to tap into that better perspective, there's a simple answer that is a complicated process for the proper outcome. And but the simple message is, if you could catch it, if you could just get it and make it plain and quit overcomplicating the all it simply is, do you believe in what God said when he said that I know the plans for you and the good? Like, forget about all the complicated scriptures about casting out devils, signs, wonders, and miracles, and all this other stuff. And do you believe him when he said, or were you paying attention when he said, "This is my son" at the beginning, and all the angels sang in the book of Matthew and said that, um, called him Emmanuel, God with us, and said that this was goodwill towards man, peace with God, and goodwill towards men. Do you really believe that you're on the road to victory? Some people don't really believe that. They have left the world and they truly do think that the life that they're living, all of it is experience, heart, whatever. They believe that somehow that's going to lead to the same thing it would lead to for a person without God, as opposed to believing you can go through these things and the outcome can still be good. At some point, I heard my best friend, my brother, my confidant, and a prophet to the kingdom of God, Ulysses Vargas, say you have to live from the victory. Not for the victory, from the victory. And I was like, this brother over here being too deep. Oh, am I fired up? Let me calm down. I'm always gonna point to you starting this because you blew my mind so many times. But when you said live from the victory, I was like, I don't know what this means, but I'm gonna do it. And he was like, this is what the Lord is showing me. And he was like, and if you're living from the victory, you've already won. What would that look like? How would you go through what is in front of you, knowing that now that you have the victory? It changed my perspective. I automatically had to look at every point, every aspect of life's experiences through a totally different lens. Imagine living a life knowing no matter what you see or going through, that you're going to win at the end of all this.
Man.
Y'all need a friend like Ulysses. I'm glad y'all tuned in to the F.I.R.M podcast. Tune back in next week. Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you're going to get another great concept. The mind is the mind of Christ, and we pick his brain weekly so that we can have something to talk to you guys about. And it's not about fitting in, and it's not about trying not to be strange or weird or whatever. We believe that there are some Nicodemuses out there, super smart, but there's certain earthly things they don't understand, and it's definitely indication that there's some supernatural things and some spiritual things they don't understand. But we still got to say it because we bear witness of good news.
Yes,
So take your potholes as a grain of salt, not with, unless you're taking what we're saying with you, but as a grain of salt. Take your potholes as a perspective. I'll tell you what, when I get a better, more expensive car, I avoid roads that have a lot of potholes. When I'm living in a different neighborhood that has no potholes, I don't often go to the neighborhoods with the potholes. When my occupation isn't in places that are known for potholes. So if naturally I can increase my value in order to avoid these potholes, then spiritually, you got to recognize your value. And the
good stuff.
potholes will begin to diminish because you'll be doing the things that the potholes was intended for you to do in the first place. Go ahead.
Amen. Amen. So with that being said, y'all, we appreciate every single one of you guys for joining us tonight for a beautiful, deep. I told y'all in the very beginning of the show it was gonna be deep. It was gonna be deep. And I told y'all, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. But listen, y'all, we appreciate you guys so
prosper.
we appreciate you guys so very much for tuning in to another edition of the F.I.R.M podcast.
Yes.
Again, every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are live, we are in color, and we are here. And also noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, noon Eastern Standard Time. Go ahead, go to the other page, the United Body of Christ, right here on Facebook. Follow that page if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit that like, that subscribe button on the Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as we say in
I do want to announce for those of you who do go to the link is at the bottom for the UBC on the 14th. That will be not my first official, certainly not Ulysses' first time officiating a wedding. But as far as the UBC, this will be the first time we give a couple a marriage certificate from the UBC, from the United Body of Christ. And I will be officiating that marriage on the 14th for the Cephas family.
Amen.
Amen.
Beautiful,
Man,
beautiful.
this is and imagine silently loving battle rap and one of the coldest battle rappers in the city, just giving people the business. It's like, I love the Lord. I'm raising my family in the strength of the Most High God. And there's a lot of preachers out there, but you're real to me. And it would be an honor for you to marry me and my fiance before God. And just imagine, I'm so excited. I'm not going to cry. I told God that. I said, Lord, if there's one thing you do when I do this wedding, do not let a tear fall from you. Let everybody cry, but you give me the most beautiful words possible for this occasion, for these people. It's not about me, it's about them. But so I'm not going to drop a tear.
No.
Maybe later, the reception, I'll be.
No, don't do it.
Don't do it?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You never cried at a wedding that you officiated?
Nope.
Not even a watery eye?
Nope. Be strong. Be strong, my brother. Be strong. Be strong.
It's so beautiful. But go ahead. Okay. All right.
Hey,
Well, you
listen,
see
y'all.
how I'm led.
We love you guys. We
Love
appreciate you
y'all.
guys so
Love
much.
y'all. Thank y'all
See
so much.
y'all next week.
Hey, next week we'll be back. I don't know what we're gonna be talking about, but it's got to be a fellowship in righteous manner.